Good evening. This is my second video this evening, but I thought I had to make this one also because I received an update. Today is February 19th, 2015, and this is to do with the deaths of transgender women murdered in the U.S. within the past 2 months, within 34 days. But I want to also add, in addition to this list that I have here, I want to thank Jennifer Luis Lopez for getting this list out. And Jennifer posted this in one of the transgender groups on Facebook, which is trans, what do you call it, asterisk with the star. So trans asterisk, and it's out on Facebook. The name I want to add to this list, and I think anybody in the transgender community, as we're reading the names this year of the individuals who have been murdered, we need to consider Jesse Hernandez. Jesse Hernandez was shot, killed to death on January 27th, 2015. Jesse was a 16-year-old teenager living in Denver, Colorado, who was shot by the Denver, Colorado Police Department because I think on the article I was reading, supposedly the plates on the car that Jesse was driving came back stolen. At least that's what the excuse is. And so I guess the police felt it was justified to just shoot Jesse in the head instead of aiming for the tires or something on the car. Because remember, they are highly trained professionals out in the streets with guns. Back to Jesse though. Jesse, as far as I know, the transgender community there in Denver, Colorado considers Jesse part of the transgender community because I think Jesse was genderqueer. If I am wrong, I apologize, but that is all the I'm going on info that I am gathering together, that I've seen out there. So I think we need to be mindful when we are tallying the deaths of transgender people that have been killed this year, that Jesse is a part of that number. Jesse, of course, is part of our Hispanic community, the Latinos, Latinas that we have in our community. So let me go back in the beginning, back up now, and we'll go back to January 12th, 2015 was the killing of Miss Edwards, Lamar Edwards, who was 23 years old in Louisville, Kentucky, murdered by a possible stranger. Suspect was apprehended and is in custody. January 17, 2015 was Lima Beard, who was 30 years old, from Norfolk, Virginia, murdered by a possibly stranger. Suspects are still on the loose in that case. January 26, 2015 was Tyra Underwood, who was 24, from Tyler, Texas. Tyra was murdered, and I don't know if it's okay, this one's Tyra. I'm sorry about that. Murdered by boyfriend. Suspect is in custody. And then January 27th, the one I just brought up, 2015, was Jesse Hernandez, who was 16 years old, living in Denver, Colorado, shot by the Denver, Colorado Police Department. January 31st, 2015 was Yasmin Vash Payne, who was 33 years old, living in Los Angeles, California, murdered by boyfriend. Suspect is in custody. February 1st, 2015, here's the name. I believe it's Tyra. Jennifer has Taja, T-A-J-A, but I believe it's T-A-R-A. So we want to check onto that name, and maybe I'm mistaken, but was Tyra or Taja Gabriel de Jesus, 33, from San Francisco, California, who was stabbed to death. Suspect still on the loose. February 10th, 2015 was Penny Proud, who was 21 years old, living in New Orleans, was murdered by a stranger. Suspect also still on the loose. February 14th, 2015 was Bree Golek, 22, from Akron, Ohio, murdered by her father. Of course, the father is in custody. And the last one we have right now is February 15th, 2015, which is Christina Gomez Reinwald. And I hope I'm saying all these names correctly. If I'm mispronouncing, please let me know. Who was 46, of West Miami, Florida, murdered for unknown reasons, and suspect still on the loose. So there's 9 names for our list of people who have been murdered. This is not a good start for the transgender community, and I think we need to be a little up in arms, especially too after the so-called Pope, the leader of the Catholic Church, comes out with a hateful message and comparing transgender individuals to nuclear weapons. As he feels we are changing the order of creation. Evidently, this man, Francis, is not a very educated person like he pretended to be. The honeymoon with him is over. And this is very disheartening, because the message like that is what gives some of the churches the leeway to preach messages that condemn people. And when you sit there and condemn people behind a microphone, behind a pulpit, that's what leads into hatred. And this is what leads into these killings that we have had so far this year. So we in the transgender community need to stand up. We need to start raising our voices. We need to start getting our message out. And we need to put a stop to these churches that are preaching this message, that people think it's okay that they can snuff us out. I got a lot of outrage tonight. Just really, we need to come together. We need our allies. We need the Black Lives Matter movement to stand with us. We need all the races to stand with us, all of our allies to come with us and help us get our voices out there. Let's put a stop to this. This is too much. 8 within just 2 months of this year. I don't want to see us become another Brazil or Venezuela. And this is just the US. This is not what's happening globally. So I hate to think what we're going to wind up with at the end of the year. Last year we had over 200 names we had to read through. And this is just way too much. Let's start pulling together as a community. Let's fix our problems within our community and pull together, come together, unite, and let's fight. This is the elitist control trying to keep us separate and trying to keep groups down, oppressed. And the Catholic Church has oppressed many people throughout its history. And now I'm not saying all churches are bad, because I myself am trying to become ordained within 2 Christian denominations, the United Church of Christ and Metropolitan Community churches. So there are churches that preach the gospel of love, the gospel that Jesus would want preached, and not this hate and condemnation So I hope you'll stand with me. Thank you, and God bless you this evening.